Okay, I don't think there were any actions from the previous meeting. Is there anything anyone wants to raise as a consequence of those? Neil, what's up?
Well, so um, some stuff has changed in the past few months. First of all, I am working on Mirrorway as our Wayland compositor for Fedora LXQt. So LXQt upstream is special, and things have been a little bit difficult on upstreaming. So we're carrying the patches in Fedora for the time being and getting all the stuff working. So I'm hoping to finish that integration work probably within the next week or two, assuming that I stop being completely ruined from FOSDEM this week, which is a very generous assumption. But yeah, so there's that. The other thing that's happened is, for the time being, Budgie in progress Wayland compositor for their stuff has stopped development as their developer is taking an indefinite hiatus due to a variety of reasons that we don't need to go into here, but none of them are related to Budgie itself. But the important point is, I would like to further explore being able to use Mir as the library for building the Budgie compositor for as an alternative to the WL roots-based one that is now halted development. In order to do so, there will be a few protocols that we are currently missing that need to be prioritized and implemented. I think I've already made requests for them for some of them before, but I'm going to work with the Budgie people to make sure I get a complete list of any of our gaps and see if we can get those requested for Mir to implement, and we can kind of go forward from there. Yep. So Mirrorway was a good proof of concept to show that, hey, this is a way to build a compositor for a desktop relatively easily. So they were impressed on that front. So it is doing its job.
That's what it's there for, as you say.
Mm-hmm. So Budgie looks to be the next one that I'm going to be, after LXQt, to be looking at to see what we can do about this. And because Budgie is working on a next major version 11, which is going to have a whole new internal infrastructure for using a new toolkit and all this other stuff. This is why I'm going to do some requirements gathering to see what we may be missing, and to see if we can do something there. The only real soft objection I think anyone really had was the fact that, and it's sort of silly, but is that the Mir codebase lives in the canonical GitHub organization. And I was just like, well, I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. We're not in a position to change that.
No. I did mention that I was happier when it was in the Mir server GitHub organization, but nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
Do you have, off the top of your head, do you remember what protocols are the ones missing? Like, I'm not asking for an exhaustive list, but just anything that jumps to mind straight up.
Yeah. There's a couple of off the hand that I recall. The WLR4 and top level management protocol is missing. That's required for the toolbars to be able to see the applications and populate them and control them. Also, X workspace is missing, and that's required for libxfc for windowing to be able to be workspace aware for, which is Budgie 10 is now using for being able to implement its panel and things like that. So those are the two actual missing protocols that I'm off the cuff aware of. You are already aware of the new version of the screenshot protocols, which is already queued and whatever, and so that is unimportant. But those two, I think, are the libxfc for windowing's like hard requirements, and we don't have them.
Yeah, I was in fact going to have a look at workspaces over the holidays with my Merry Way hat on, but then I had laptop problems that soaked up a lot of time.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for that, Neil. We have to keep a track somewhere of which protocols are needed for which scenario, and which of these different desktops need which ones. Have to put something together somewhere for that.
I wonder if a GitHub project could actually be like feasible for this.
I think that's a good idea.
Because we
Yeah,
can
I think that
use
would be a good
labels
idea.
and whatnot for that.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good idea. I just threw a link in the Google chat of the libxfc for windowing Meson build file that describes which Wayland protocols it needs to compile into its code, which gives you an idea of which protocols it actually needs off the cuff.
Yeah.
And it's basically XGG output unstable, WLR4 and top level management unstable, and X workspace v1. That's it. Those, and I think we have XGG output already, so it's just the other two that are missing. But yeah, I think it'd be a good idea if we have some way of collecting the protocol requirements for the different desktops and either putting them into a project or having labels or sub mechanism to track which ones are desired by what, because it can help us prioritize what would have more impact, for this sort of thing. But I am optimistic that Mir is going to be adopted by a desktop now.
Okay. Anything else people have got from the previous mini thing? Okay, we'll move on to Mir 219.3, which fixed a couple of memory leaks that we came across in investigating some problems. Don't think there's a lot to say about it beyond that.
One thing there is actually one of them was crazy weird because it was actually the simple frame buffer kernel device that wasn't cleared up. So we should never have encountered it because it should have gone away by the time Mir goes away. So we just queried it off. But yeah, the behavior was pretty wild in terms of memory.
Okay. FOSDEM debrief. I think that's you, Savik.
Yeah, so that's going to be very brief then, because I flew everywhere. But yeah, I think the three things that I felt like something that were relevant here was actually Mirror Hall, and I will drop links into the notes. Is a small utility that today works on GNOME and asks GNOME to create a virtual display to be streamed out to whatever device out there. And I spoke to Rafael, the author of that. I was hoping for him to be able to join us here, but not this time. Hopefully next. And but it would be interesting to actually get it working cross-platform. Like Mir knows to do virtual displays, though there isn't a protocol right now to request that. Like we only have those on the command line basically. But there's nothing that's to say like if we had a way to for something to tell us that you want a new virtual display of size this and that, and maybe an identifier or something, then it would be trivial to that. Somebody came up to Rafaela on the on FOSDEM that WLR has also a virtual platform geared at testing primarily, so that's another candidate. So we suggested to Rafaela to think about a common Wayland protocol extension to request or manage virtual displays really, and then like the standard screen copy or screen capture and well, image source and image capture protocols, which they are now, would work on those. So that's that. one of the things that I looked at was Pipewire, and I think that's like Pipewire State of the Union, and it actually kind of connects to the Miro whole story, because like if Pipewire seems to be becoming the kind of jack of desktop use case, as in for both jack as in the audio routing software, and I think if we were able to make sure that a source of a display can be a Pipewire source, and then whatever transformations you need to that in Pipewire can be done, and on the other side it can be streamed out to some external screen, for example, then I think it would be a nice place to kind of converge. And another interesting bit was Godot VR. Like there was a talk by somebody who's actually been using Godot for virtual wind tunnel kind of measurements, and I think it was really interesting to see. Other than that, well, FOSDEM, the usual 1,000+ talks and 1,000+ speakers, and I think they've stopped counting the attendance because it just didn't make sense anymore. But we're in the 10,000 kind of realm in terms of people that went through there. And yeah, we will be posting together with other canonicalers that were there. We'll be posting a kind of more comprehensive FOSDEM report for other things that we saw, unrelated possibly to Mir. But yeah, that's gonna come to Discourse ubuntu.com in a while. And that's all.
Cool. Okay, so I guess that's already covered Mirror Hall, which was the next point on the agenda. So any other business?
I suppose one thing I can say is that we have been working on NVIDIA support for Ubuntu Core 24. So if anybody has a need to use NVIDIA on Core, as in Ubuntu Core 24 OS, then Mesa 24 will soon be helping with that. I'm going to be posting about this tomorrow, probably on the Discourse as well. And well, as I'm plugging things here, so OSK and VNC, so Ubuntu Frame on-screen keyboard and Ubuntu Frame VNC also will get a slight refresh. OSK gets a few more themes, so if you want to use any of the ARU themes, then those will be available now. And for VNC, we are enabling user password authentication. And plug.
Okay. Anyone else want to plug something?
Mark Harlan, Flutter.
You want to speak? Oh, okay. I'm already speaking. Yeah, we just opened up. We have finally finalized the first pull request and a set of pull requests for implementing a windowing API for Flutter. So we have one open right now that allows you to create regular windows, modify them, delete them. And that is up and ready for review and waiting on their team. And we have a big spec document that is also coming to a conclusion. I believe that's public and you could find it somewhere.
Yeah, we should drop some links in the notes.
Yeah, we could drop that in the notes. But we're getting somewhere good on that. And if you have any feedback in that realm, feel free to check it out. But that's exciting. It should be landing within, the first PR should be landing within weeks, I assume.
Yeah. And just to be clear, that's to be followed up with PRs for the other important window types, such as drop-downs and dialogues and the rest of it.
And I should also mention,
this is on Windows.
Yes. Mac and Linux to follow. Work's just getting started on those.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Flutter didn't have windowing support at all for this long?
No,
Correct.
there's only a single surface ever.
What the heck were you doing for 5 years?
Well,
Wild
mobile.
stuff.
We weren't involved for 5 years.
Yeah, it was so for those who don't know, Flutter is a single surface, or has been for its whole lifetime, because I guess it grew out of a mobile effort. So whenever you would open a dialog or open a pop-up, you would notice that that dialog or pop-up never extended beyond the screen, because they couldn't, or beyond the window rather, because they couldn't. So it was always an overlay on top of everything else. So that's that, Neil.
Where have you been? We've been tooting that horn for like, for months now. We made our work public in The Hague. So you should have been listening.
Yes, but you were talking about Windows stuff, which I don't care about.
Windows is just what Flutter cares about most, so we needed to fix that first.
And also, it was easier to convince people that this works on Windows rather than us just being, the nerdy people in the corner with their Linux boxes and stuff. So.
Okay. Going twice? I guess that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.